Welcome back to Showboys Gaming and our guide for the Corrupted Monk. Going into the Corrupted Monk fight, I'm going to recommend a specific strategy here, but I'm also going to recommend that you come in here and learn the moveset of this enemy, the strategy that we're going to use to beat him, or her, not sure if it's a guy or a girl. It's effectively almost a cheese strategy. I mean, it really is. You're stun locking, or we're going to be stun locking the enemy through the whole of the fight. That being said, though, we are going to see this enemy coming up rather soon in the walkthrough. So we do want to learn the moveset. The problem is this moveset is just very, I don't know. I don't do well with the slow enemies in this game, which seems weird to even say that in a, frantic amped up game, that the slow enemies are what is really hurting me and not the fast enemies. But I don't know what it is. It's just it makes them a little unpredictable to get down. But moving into the fight, I want you to put on Akko's Divine Confetti and Fistful of Ash, as well as our spring-loaded firecracker, or whichever firecracker you have. Just don't use the long spark, because it doesn't work very well here, I think. And we are going to use that until it runs out. It's going to be very simple. We're going to first buff with our Akko's and our Divine Confetti, and then we're going to move in and we're going to use the spirit emblems all the way through on the firecracker until it runs out, and then we're going to switch to the Fistful of Ash. And you'll see how this easily negates the enemy. We are also going to use this strategy in the actual fight, which is a 3-phase fight coming up. So I recommend that you, A, learn how to fight, because we're also going to be using that in one of the phases. But I also recommend that you learn this strategy as well. Just makes it, 3-phase bosses suck, and we can make it a little bit easier with some strategy here. So we're going to buff right at the steps here before we go up with Akko's and Divine Confetti. And we're simply going to run up and firecracker her immediately and hit her twice. Firecracker, twice. Firecracker, twice. And we're going to follow this until our spirit emblems are gone. You can hit a third time. I just find the timing on it can be a little iffy, so I just stick with twice. Sometimes I accidentally hit her 3 times when I don't mean to. But you see there, she hit me. It's because the timing of it was off on that 3 hit. So I highly recommend that we don't do 3 hits, we do 2 hits. But if this happens, just back off, let her do her little spinny attack, and wait for him to come. Deflect one, deflect, and then we can firecracker again. And then switch to Fistful of Ash. Once we're out of spirit emblems, Fistful of Ash and 2 strikes. We also want to, back off and put Divine Confetti back on. You can also use Snap Seeds here, but the Snap Seeds run out of, strength, I guess. And they only work a set amount of times, so I wouldn't recommend it. Just stick with the Fistful of Ash. It's really going to be all you need. And that will take down the Corrupted Monk. However, now that we have taken down the Corrupted Monk, I highly, highly recommend that you come in and you spend a little bit of time getting this boss down, okay? We're going to go back in here real quick and just fight her for a couple seconds so we can show off some of her moves. But it's really going to come down to you getting the timing down on this. There's no, outside of what I just showed you, there's no secret weapon against this boss. It's really the timing and knowing what to do when certain attacks come up, which it is most of the time. Unfortunately, we didn't rest, which is fine. So let's take our Akko's and stuff off just so we don't accidentally use it during this. And you can mix in kind of a combo if you feel cheap using the long spark. Mix in a combo, But you'll see that even if we don't have Divine Confetti on, we're not really doing that much damage to her, right? This is the flurry attack that can be multi-deflected there, but you definitely want to have Divine Confetti on for a fight. There's the Perilous that you can jump and bounce on her head. But you see, like, we've done some decent hits on her, but her damage is just not... She blocks a whole heck of a lot of your attacks. So you need to be mindful of that going into it. Let's put on Divine Confetti and see how much it helps. So Divine Confetti is used for the kind of apparition enemies. Confetti imbued with divine blessing made for driving away apparitions. And that's what this boss is. So we'll put that on and we'll buff with it. And this uppercut, she gets me with that literally 10 out of 10 times. I don't know what it is about the timing there, but I just can't get it down. There was her Perilous Sweep that I said that you could deflect or jump over and bop her on the head. But she just has these long sweeping attacks, but then her attacks come in fast. So it looks like she's going slow, but then the actual attack comes in very quick. Multi-deflects here. But you see, we've barely even damaged her, really, even with the Divine Confetti. So I highly recommend that you come in and learn these move sets, because we're going to need them moving on here. But I also recommend that you use the strategy with the Spark, because we are going to use that in the 3-phase fight against the actual monk later in Fountainhead Palace. So it's good to know. This is a good way to learn the fight, because it's a nice open area. The place that we fight the true corrupted monk, it can be a little tight and claustrophobic. So just coming in here and learning, I mean, a lot of the move sets are the same, and just getting your timing down, which you can see I don't have my timing down. It's not very good, right? So I hesitate to call this the cheese strat, because there is an actual cheese strat to this fight where you can get her to move towards the back of the level and then get a death blow on her. So that's how I take, that's the speed running strategy. So just make sure you're paying attention for the deflects that she does, because she's gonna follow it up rather quick when she deflects you. So it's just like every other fight that we've had so far. Parry, and there's your Makiri counter. But you see, it's just the very sweeping motions of her makes her very difficult to get a hold on. But just pay attention for the deflect. There it is. Get ready to deflect, just like every other boss fight. It's pretty simple. So use the strategy that I showed at the beginning of the video to get through this enemy rather quick. And then come in here, and I obviously need to do a little tightening up on my strategy. I'm already through all my healing gourds here, and we're only halfway through the fight. It's just taking a fight and making it unnecessarily long if you do this way. You definitely can put Divine Confetti on to help, but there's the sweep, and it's that right there, that move, that and the uppercut just get me every time. Not that time, though, huh? Bop on her head. You can definitely use shurikens to move in on her when she gets away from you like that. And this is definitely a good fight to pull out the rice, too, if you have some. I would save the more potent, like, sweet rice balls for later on, because we're going to get some much more difficult enemies moving forward here. So you can just see that this is a painfully long fight if you do it this way. And I just don't think it's worth it, you know? We're trying to get to the end game. We have much harder bosses coming up. So use whatever strategy you want. I highly recommend the Firecracker method with the Divine Confetti, Akos, and Fistful of Ash. But if you feel like that's cheap, you can go in and try to beat her straight up. Just make sure you maybe put confetti on, because it'll definitely help your attack power. And you see that I'm playing on my new game plus. This is 99 attack power, and it's still barely doing anything to her. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward. And I hope this helped you in some capacity. I know that this one isn't very in-depth and very, you know, I'm not given any kind of super strategic messages here. My message is just to use the sparks and the fistful of ash to get through it. Learn how to do that because we're going to need it later on, but you also need to learn how to get her timing down, which I obviously need to do some of myself. So thanks for hanging out. We will see you on the next boss guide. And I think next is the Guardian Ape, which will be a fun one. So see you guys next time.